Exodus part 8. And what I want to do is I do want to show you the format here of what I'm going to be looking for. It's like this. These words are highlighted this way in all capital letters, meaning our Creator is speaking in the text. And then you'll see things that I have added into the text. I left off here explaining that the altar, it has a certain height, and it's 5 by 5, and that this is the large altar at this time, the one that the high priest will make an offering to our Creator, and it usually has to be assigned by the king to do this. And it's not wide; it's going to be square, 5 by 5, so it's square. And it's going to be 3 cubits high. Now, saying that, I don't think there's text here. I think I have to add the text later that for the other priests. There's supposed to be 12 for each of the tribes, and then there is going to be the large altar. So they're going to make the pieces or or the items needed to do this. In fact, I'm not sure if even the hooks are made here, because when they're talking about the pail and removing the ashes here, and its shovels and its basins, the basins would be that for them to wash their hands. The shovels are to remove the ashes. They have wood that they set up, but there's supposed to be these hooks, like stands that are made that have hooks to hold the meat on it, or the mussels on it. And then there's going to be a fire pan that brings over the fire. Yes, you can see the fire pans here to be brought over. Now here it's got forks. I'm not sure if they really had forks, unless it was that they were using them to put the meat on the hooks. And trying to put this all together, you have to have like a pokers to keep the fire, to really get it burning hot. To You're burning mussels. That's a lot of meat, so the fire is going to be quite extreme, and it needs to be moved around so it's done as fast as can be done. And then the plates that are carrying the uh, offering, which are the mussels from the outside to the inside, and these will be made of bronze. So all these things, like I said, they had to have a lot of bronze to do a lot of this. So that's why I added bronze in the text below before, in case people are still not understanding why I added the word bronze. This is completely why. And you need to make 2 poles, so I've added the word 2. And I forgot, when you guys are new here right off the bat, there's 5 reasons what I'm doing by removing the blue text. That's double text, whatever, absolutely untruthful. And then what I'm doing is in the green text, I'm either using this / to change this word to this word, or a yellow word like this to show you that I'm completely adding that. That needs to be added to make these 2 words, 2 main word formats. As you can see, I needed that one to complete that. And it's still got to be talking about the 2 poles that have to be inserted into this rings that they're going to carry this large altar. Okay. Now the text is going to jump back to the tent and the opening on the south. Now this is what I've been waiting to explain. I tried to get to it in the last video, but I just couldn't, I didn't know where it was at. But remember, when you see images of people trying to do the layout of what it was like the city of Jerusalem and what the house for meeting with our Creator looks like, you'll always see the doorway, the entrance from facing the east. That is completely wrong. Um, what's what we have already done above is that the floor is supposed to be um, 10 cubics this way and 30 cubics this way. Okay. And there's going to be a room that's 10 by 10 cubics. And this is where everything was brought in the last video to be set up. Um, and I explained there that the Creator has been ascending and descending from heaven by the North Pole as a star, or the North Star, is the tip of Mount Zion in the second heaven. The second heaven is this motion of the stars moving, and you'll see it when you search pictures of the North Star, and I'll show you how these stars start getting out farther to where they had observed it as this mountain, and heaven is above where the North Star. So he ascends and descends from heaven. And now that we have this arrangement of 10 by 30, the doors that are hanging will be on the south. So the opening here is on the south side, okay? And yet you'll see it always on the east side, which is wrong. You have to understand that the inside doesn't have a lot of light. So it has to be to the south side that the door is there to give it more light for all day long, because there's no light for the priest to go in and grab these items to begin the sacrifice on the outside and cutting up the animal and bring the plates in. Like I said in the other video, the second area stores all these items. But here is the first time that the word south is there. It's being used there. That means that everything that you see on the internet of his house or his tent facing the east is completely wrong. With it on the south side, sunlight all day long still gives that one room brightness to get into and get the things that they need. Let's see here. Doors needed to be hinged, and this is the courtyard and the fence. Um, I'm trying to think that this hinging is not like what you're thinking, like a regular hinge. It's the only word I can get that this opening has to be. I'm going to look, I know what the text is going to be in the future here when you see it. And what it's going to say is it's going to actually say that this doorway has hides that are 5 by 5 cubics instead of being 10 cubics high. And these need to be brought up and back and forth. And so this type of hinging type of things is the best way that I can get. It's because it's not really hanging. It has to be hooked up someplace to be hinged. Okay. That when they open it up, it's hinged. It has this. That's what I'm gonna say why these are. The word is hinged, and these are has to be referred to as the door or the entrance, but I'm using the word door because it has to be open. Now we come to the courtyard, and it's not twisted fine linen. These This fencing um, is made will be 100 cubits long of, for each side. The word is one, but I've changed it to the word each. So now that you see this 10 by 30, now around it is going to be these 100 cubics wide, and they used planks for these for this fencing. So I needed to use the word fencing. Now the gates to the courtyard here, and I'm having to add the S, will have 4 hinges. So you have, if the gate for the courtyard isn't really described here how big it is. So that'll be in the, I don't know if that's in Leviticus or not, but it's going to come up in another book. But the object here is that I know there's 2 gates and these 4 hinges would be there. Now it's supposed to be made of bronze, so you can understand the size of the hinge as well. But all of a sudden now we skip back down to the loops for the tent, and all the pegs that are being used for the tent will be made of bronze. So now this is for the outside, attaching the ropes to tie down the roof that's being used. Okay. I don't know if there's any text at all that tells us how um, the others are attached, the hides, but I'm believing that they have loopholes, and then these are hung together on the wood structure that's going around the tent for mating. Like I said, each they named before that there's 6 on the short side, and they use 2 in the corner. So you got 1, 2, and then it has 4 here. So making the hides fit that area to where they can hinge at, that's probably what's going to have to be true. So anybody out there trying to draw this has to have this understanding of how to construct it correctly. Now we have another words here. You use olive, you can use clear oil from olives to light for the light from the lamps. Now this text is gonna, you start seeing it's pretty jumbled, so it's got to be, this is all gonna be this going here, that's gonna go here, to have a reasonable order when you read it. It has a better understanding instead of pieced here and there. I've been having to use the word lit, and it's going to be the high priest. I'm just not adding this to add this. This is going to be because it is in the text someplace else. Um, and he's supposed to take care of it. This is the high priest's job to start the first thing in every morning and the evening. So now we already have the text here that Aaron and his brothers from among the tribes will minister as priests to me. Yet they haven't been picked yet. Those that really know the stories that are in the text, there's a lot to go on here because our Creator is going to settle this argument a special way. So to pick Aaron's or the Levites, okay. So and here now it's going to be made the robes, that they're not garments, and they aren't going to be hides. These are going to be robes, not made from linen. They're going to be made from cloth. Now, these words here, it just seem to be too untrue to be here. They don't. This is not for glory and beauty. The object of their robes. It's because They are to minister before our Creator. So the robes, what are the colors? Okay, purple, scarlet, and blue. Well, these two come from this verse down here. Okay, and you can see the forward slash. I'm adding the word blue. Red was a very difficult color to dye back then. Okay, blue was easy, purple was easy or easier. But the object is these two would have been easier for them to make. Purple and blue. Is it both combination colors, or is it the outside color mixed with the inside color? And that's exactly the way I understand it from the text. The purple would be on the outside, and the blue would be on the inside. Uh, True blue, purple is royalty. Okay, so the highest representation. You have to understand they took these colors from what our Creator created. Blue sky is truthful; it's clear. You can see. Um, if I try to describe what is truth, that's what's missing, so we can see everything that we see. And when we look up, blue is a very high color. Purple is a special color that happens more in the evening at sunset. The sky turns purple. So these colors in the heavens depended on um, a lot of the way they thought at that time, long time ago, on how to place colors. And we still rate that way as colors go today. Now, this breast piece, I have to add that it's made from ram hides, because these leather belts are going to be um, holding what's known as an ephod. An ephod is going to be made from two plates or two stone items. They're going to be hooked together, and they're going to have gems on them. So I had to add the word gems, okay? Because down here, you'll make the ephod of gold. Now, ephod, when I just said stones, that's going to come up. The gold is holding all the ephod together, okay? Um, I think they even call it a filigree later that this is holding. But this hide piece, this breast piece, is going to hold it. They first put on the belt, please. I don't care what you see on the internet. When you see the text and how wrong they've been on so many things that's on the internet, when you see these words come out, it is this belt that's put on. In fact, later it's going to be, okay, right here. It'll be on the two shoulders, and the pieces will be joined. And that piece I have to add here, it will be tied like a strap to hold them all together, to hold it in place. It'll come down, and then they'll tie it in the back and strap. Now this is going to hold this ephod of gold with two um, pieces of stones that are going to have the names carved. And these gems are going to be in the order of, or placed on here according to the tribe's name. All that comes from text below that I have to come back and re-edit the text up here to go hold the tribe's gems, okay? Um, I don't know if the way I'm thinking, I might have just erred when I said how the gold was, but yes, one, the gold has to hold the two plates. And yes, then there has to be something made gold. And now, where are these gems placed? Let's see if I can get to that text. Okay, here. You will take two, not onyx stones because they're gems. So it has to be a stone large enough to engrave. So here we have just a common stone out in the Sinai that they're going to use. I don't know quite the minerals that are, what kind of shaping, but they had to make 2 of these, and they're gonna be thin plates. They aren't gonna be something that's really heavy and thick for them or for the high priest to wear. But this is to be worn by the high priest at all times when he gets ready in the morning, even before he goes in and lights the light lamps in the Holy of Holies, or his meeting room, will be the names of the tribes. 6 names on each stone. So that's why there's 2 stones. Now you're getting this idea of actually how this is made. And like a jeweler mounts those gold that he was saying, the stones will be set in a filigree of oil. Okay, yes. Okay, filigree is in this one. Um, a filigree is a very light um, use of gold to hold other items. It's not like it's a great big chunk and gold and these gems are put in. I want to make sure that you understand what a filigree is. And Aaron will wear it on his shoulders as a memorial before wiving. And what I did was I had to move this verse down to this verse when I kept reading it and trying to put these in order. This is a backwards edit, and that's what I needed to move this verse down to here and shoulders before wiving. Okay. Now here comes the mounting of the gems. Because we know that these are going to be named gems here, so I have to add the word gems. And I had to add the word first because in the first row is the first one is to be the ruby, and then topaz, and then emerald. The second row is defined, and here's that onyx gem that's going to be used, so you know that the plates weren't made of onyx. And it will be placed in the center. Okay, so now you have these 2 stones. The names are going to be on the side, and yet there's an opening of stones here in the middle. Where are you going to place these gems? Now, here, when it was talking about rows, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? No, it's not like that. The stones will be according to the names of the tribes, according to their birth. Now, what is not in this text is how they marched when they left Egypt, and when they were in the Sinai, and when they traveled everywhere to get to the Promised Land. And when they set up camp, our Creator had these tribes camp by their birth order. And I'm believing the firstborn are on the south side. The second group is on the west side, and then the third group is on the east, and then the north. So the thing here is, now you know that these are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's not in order this way. It's in 4 different rows around to make a square. Okay, and I'm not thinking it's going to be a square. I think they're going to be like 4 here, and then 4 offset over here, and then 4 will be here. So they don't overlap like this to where you would count this, and then you'd say, oh, there's 6 here. So that's why they have to be separated, because the meaning is the 4th row. Okay. Now you have an idea what the ephod really looks like. And you won't find that on the internet either. Now, when it talks about these 2 items here, these are little things that if you ever look them up, they're little spinning items, and they're marked on sides. And that is used as for divination, or taking when they don't know what to make a choice, people sit there and spin these, and then when they read it and they say, oh, I'm supposed to do this. Our Creator, you don't take chance with our Creator. Creator has everything defined already. It's our choice that we make, and it's a free will of choice. but the object is this was never true. This is completely added because it's against our Creator. Later, you're going to read, what is it? Saul um, goes and visits a diviner, and she kind of realizes he tells Saul that the king is going to kill us. He kills diviners, so I'm not going to do this, and he tricks her into it, and then she finds out he's king, and then kind of like, you going to kill me? But the object is so if the king was going to kill him, it's because this never existed. Okay, so those that don't believe in Jesus, like Jews, they have these things and they believe in those, but it is against our Creator. You will make not the robe, but the cloth of blue to store the ephod. Here we have that when he's taking it off, that this ephod has to be stored someplace. Okay, so now in this room that's 30 by or 10 by 30 in the second room, there's this going to be 20 cubic by 20 cubic area. Now we know that the robes are there, and that's where they get dressed at. Okay, so a lot of this that is building up, you have to place where they are and what's going on, um, because I don't know if let's see, if you know the story of Jesus in the text as it is, he goes there. There's all these things inside the house for our Creator, that the merchants are in there. Now you know that the second area, what it has, they wouldn't have any of the merchants there. It just can't be true there. The merchants have to be in the courtyard. You've seen how big the courtyard is. So now if I go down here, okay, now he's going to anoint them with that oil I was telling you about before, and I had to add the word after you put it on Aaron. So Aaron's going to have this robe put on him, and then he's also going to do this to Aaron and his brothers. And I have to add the words to the word forgive them here. Now this word is going to be like this. It's to enter into heaven, you have to be forgiven. So the use of the word forgiven here needs to mean that you are forgiven of your sins. So they have to be forgiven for their service. And what it talks about here is you'll take one young ram without blemish, and you'll bring Aaron and his brothers to the gate for the meeting with him. So notice here, this is one of the first times our Creator is calling it his tent for meeting with him, even though I'm adding the with him, with me. I feel these are very important words. So it's the tent for meeting with me. It's not a sanctuary to meet with me. It's not a tabernacle to meet with me. You just created a tent for to meet with me. And then you're going to put the breastpiece in on. What did I have it listed up here? Maybe that's wrong. What did I call it here? Excuse me. Okay, I used it as a breastpiece here. Okay, sorry about that. It was just confusing me. I didn't know. All of a sudden, I didn't like that word, but I'm using it. I guess I'm pulling it from here to here. So to get this together, you first have to have this on before this is put on as well. And then you'll pour oil on it. My oil, and pour it on his head to anoint them. And then I have to add all these words because each of his brothers have to do this. And it says to his brothers, and you'll do this to his brothers, and all of this stuff um, this stuff is not true. Our creator didn't like people wearing things on their head. He liked the way he's proud of the way he created you. So the way you look is the way he would like you to be at all times. Um, no cutting of the hair, no cutting of the beard. Um, he made you, he's designed you. So the thing here is in front of him, he would not be having put on these caps and this sash. Um, that's something brought from the east, brought over here to the west, and put in at the text at the time here. So our creator always has them wear a rope belt. So even when you see the robes, where's the belt to hold them? You notice that it's not there, and all of a sudden it appears in the text. No, here it's tunics now instead of robes. So again, tunics is fine linen. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be he doesn't need them to copy things from the Egyptian. Hebrews wore ram hides or goat skin hides, and they were white. So you can imagine all these people wearing these white robes. That's why everybody knew them as the Hebrews. You see those crazy people over there, they're all wearing white. So the thing here is um, if you remember, goat hides made and ram hides made the tent. So that tent is white, okay? Um, the cloth in the inside of for the room to meet with him is white. Um, and they're placing their hand on their head, the ram, and then they will ask me for their forgiveness. I have to add this because later, when our creator defines how people are supposed to come to atone to him and to ask for forgiveness, the same thing of laying their hand on the ram, they confess before the priest that I didn't obey one of these 12 commandments that he told us. And then they take the muscle, or what's is um, the visual of a muscle is the action of the sin will be forgiven them. So if you notice, oh yeah, there's this 4-verse grouping starting here. So it's changed from all of a sudden 3:3 to 4. And watch how long it goes for, because it does go quite a bit. It's describing all this of his special treatment needed for his priest. So, and I had to add the large altar because this is for everybody at the time. Remove the muscles and hang them on the hooks. I've had to put the hooks in here at some time. So these were there, but they weren't told that they were made yet, but they have to exist because how else do you have the wood burning something if it's not on hooks? So the hooks have to be made and offered for their atonement. Atonement is used by our creator in another book for the word, so I'm putting it here. You have to atone for your sin. So to get forgiveness from our creator. And then he's describing the rest of the animal that was not used is to be burned in fire from their camp, for it is a sin offering. Now, I'm pretty sure I added these words too. No, maybe I didn't. Let me check that real quick. This is 9, 29:15. I'm in 28. This is such a. I need a magnifying glass here. No, it's not. It's 14 here. Um, see here. Yes, it's here. Okay, it is here. So now we have this sin offering as actually being very important to our Creator. He's defining it as sin offering. So these are exceptionally, um, m- these words are defining what's going on here. I tried to explain it ahead of time, and now it gets mentioned that it was for their sin offering. Okay. Um, so this is our creator defining this type of atonement and setting up the animal to be sacrificed, and then the muscles removed, and then the burning, and then whatever is left, because it's from their sin offering. We finally have what I've been searching for. Okay. Um, and this will be done forever as their not burnt offering. See how they changed it real quick from sin to burnt offering? And I'm going to stop here, and then because I there's too much to explain right here. So I'm going to stop here and then continue.